incarnation of destruction.
Hey guys, Memes here. So, apparently during this past week of questioning during the president's impeachment trial, a question was asked that was so dangerous that you could even feel just throughout Washington people quaking for fear. Well, that's complete hyperbole there. A lot of folks were saying this was a good question, and we're going to get into it just because I personally, in my opinion, think it's highly problematic for pretty much every politician ever. So we're gonna start off first with a question. Excuse me, the answer. The answer to said question, we're gonna go over to the Daily Mail over here. So, Alan Dershowitz, one of Donald Trump's lawyers, argued in his Senate trial on Wednesday that any action taken by the president to benefit his re-election is in the public interest and therefore not impeachable. That was a terribly inarticulate answer for an individual as well-versed, as well-educated as Alan Dershowitz. Again, in my opinion, because basically and again, if you're focusing on the very specific context of Article 1 there, yeah, you're saying that if he's doing something, and it happens to be in his interest, along with it being in the public interest, because in the president's opinion, him getting reelected is in the public's interest. Just the way it ends up being articulated here. Let's read the quote. Every public official that I know believes that his election is in the public interest. And mostly you're right. Your election is in the public interest, and if a president does something which he believes will get him elected in the public interest, that cannot be the kind of quid pro quo that results in impeachment, he said during the senator's question and answer period. It was an astonishing argument for sweeping executive power made by the famous law professor. And that's the thing, because at that point, any type of president or politician could literally do almost anything and say, oh, well, I'm doing it for the public interest there. Right there. Now, and again, that wasn't the greatest of answers. Some of the president's other lawyers also gave responses as well. And again, it happened to be probably not the most articulate answer from somebody of the caliber of Alan Dershowitz in what is possibly one of the most serious forums in the entire world. You're saying this on the floor of the Senate during a trial in which people are discussing whether or not we should remove the duly elected president of these United States. So what prompted this? What type of question could have led to such an answer? And I would like to quickly thank MC, whose video yesterday highlighted this point. You can check out MC's channel right there. There. Yep. And this actually came from the senators who submit to the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And this came from Senator Collins, along with Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Senator Mitt Romney of Utah. They directed the first question at Trump's defense team. And I quote, "If President Trump had more than one motive for his alleged conduct, such as the pursuit of personal political advantage, rooting out corruption, and the promotion of national interests, how should the Senate consider more than one motive in its assessment of Article 1, the trio asked. To be fair, it's not the worst question in the world, but with all due respect, you literally just asked the question on the Senate floor. Basically, what if a politician has more than one motive for what they're doing? Oopsie! You pretty much just said what everyone was thinking. And this is why I think it's such a devastating question within politics. Because you'll have folks up there and they'll say, oh, we did this because of the American people, the American people. How many times do people, politicians especially, invoke the American people for their justification of doing things? It's been justified for many things throughout the years, not all of them necessarily the greatest of invocations there. But I digress. So, what effect could this have? Because, to be fair, and MC pointed this out, basically, if somebody asks this question of you, what happens if you turn around and just say, oh, well, are you asking that question in the public interest or your own personal political interest? Hey, Senator Mitch McConnell, are you doing that in the public interest or for your own personal political interest? Speaker Pelosi, are your actions in the public interest or your own personal political interest? You put that out there in what is likely the greatest forum in the entire world. So now it's fair game. And that's the thing. You put it out there, so now anytime any politician does anything, guess what? They're going to have to explain their work. I know. How dare we hold politicians to the same standard we hold our kids in school to? Show your work there, little Timmy and Sally. Oh, but wait. I voted on something and you want me to thoroughly explain it? How dare you! But this is why I think this is so freaking amazing, because you can apply it to so many different situations. It's like, well, were you doing that for the public interest or your own personal political interest? And if it's both, how much of each? You got to start actually breaking it down. That's the thing. It's, let's face it, I mean, folks do tend to act in their own self-interest. That's why it's my fifth tenet of humanity there. I understand that. Just stands like a natural adaptation that folks will go over in time. And that's one of my biggest gripes of the system itself. The system is set up, and it unfortunately doesn't promote honesty. That's the thing. If the Senate came out over there and whatever senator, president's like, oh yeah, this is going to help me. Oh, how dare you say what basically everybody already knew and everything. It's just, people are really starting to wisen up now. They're starting to get smarter. And with the internet, it's just, the information is out there. I believe a wise fox once said, the truth is out there. Now, you may have to sift through hundreds and thousands of web pages in order to find what's actually true, and even when you find what's actually true, do we know it is the truth, or are these words written by perfectly imperfect creatures? That's one of the big reasons why video and the ability to actually record an event makes such a big difference. Now, we're going to still argue over that, because we have argued over that. We can have the exact same situation, and depending on who's looking at it, unfortunately, I think folks are erring on their own personal political interests now. But now that we have this question, and this question has gone down in the record, so if individuals' alleged conduct, such as the pursuit of personal political advantage, rooting out corruption, and the promotion of national self-interest, how should the American people consider more than one motive in this? You just pointed out one of the biggest things in politics. And for that, I would like to thank those three great senators right there. Now, what ends up happening here? Where do we go? Ultimately, as far as the Senate trial goes, I believe they just voted that they're not going to be calling any witnesses, so probably within the next couple hours, days or so, the Senate will likely have its vote. In my opinion, it is a Republican-controlled Senate. Aside from maybe one person, I don't see them getting 60-plus votes in order to remove the president. I just don't see it happening. It's unfortunate that maybe we're not going to hear for some more folks and everything. In case, if your president is corrupt, you want to definitely see it. Unfortunately, many people already believe that, and I don't think they're necessarily going to change their minds. And the inverse is likely true as well, that the vast majority of folks that they believe the president is innocent believe he'll be exonerated. And again, that goes back down to the whole Our country seems so divided right now. What are we going to do about it? Well, we got this thing called an election coming up in later months of this year. So my big thing is vote. Voice your public opinion. Voice your assertion who you think is going to do the best job for whoever it may be. Happens to be the president, vote for the president. If it's whoever the Democratic nominee is, vote for them. If you want to vote for your wife, vote for your wife. If you want to vote for Mickey Mouse, vote for Mickey Mouse, Homer Simpson, Peter Griffin, whoever you want to vote for. But as far as the internet goes, make sure to vote TR, president of this internet of stuff and things. Thank you everybody for watching. Peace out.